Giving you a rundown of the top 10 serial killers from California.
Yeah, we don't want to do anything to scare your children. That's the last thing we want to do. We don't want to scare anybody.
They're still shooting. You see, where did you find more
I'm Kenny 911. What is your emergency? Thank you. Caller, what's the address?
At number 10 is Louise Pete, who murdered at least 3 men in 1912, 1920, and 1944 by way of shooting for financial gain. She was sentenced to life imprisonment on February 17, 1921, and paroled on April 11, 1939. She was then arrested again and sentenced to death on June 1, 1945. She was executed in the California gas chamber on April 11, 1947. At number 9, Dorothea Helen Puente, who poisoned between 3 and 9 elderly and mentally disabled boarders in order to cash their social security checks from 1982 to 1988. Number 8 is Holly Ann Grigsby, who is a white supremacist that killed 4 men and women by way of shooting from September to October of 2011. Number 7 is the Zodiac, who murdered between 5 and 37 individuals, mostly couples, via shooting and stabbing from the 1960s to the 1970s. He was never identified and is still at large. At number 6 are the Hillside Stranglers, Kenneth Alessio Bianchi and Angelo Bueno Jr. The two kidnapped, raped, tortured, and murdered via strangulation 10 women together, while Bianchi murdered an extra 2 on his own from 1977 to 1978. Number 5 is Chester Turner, who murdered 14 women and an unborn child via strangulation from 1987 to 1998. At number 4 is William Bonin, better known as the Freeway Killer. Number 3 is Richard Ramirez, who is better known as the Night Stalker, who murdered 15 women using a wide variety of weapons including handguns, knives, a machete, a tire iron, and a hammer from April 10, 1984 to August 24, 1985. Number 2 is Randy Kraft, better known as the Scorecard Killer, the Southern California Strangler, and the Freeway Killer, who raped, sodomized, mutilated, and murdered between 16 and 67 young men between 1971 and 1983. At number 1 is Juan Corona, who murdered 25 migrant workers by way of knife and machete through stabbing or slashing from February 1st to May 19th in 1971, and buried them in shallow graves in a peach orchard along the Feather River in Sutter County, California.